Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking at one of Japan's most cherished folk heroes, Issun-boshi, the one-inch boy. But we're going to reveal maybe a hidden side, the cunning, ambitious figure lurking beneath the virtuous image. Yeah, we're launching a deep dive into the legend of Issun-boshi, the tiny hero, often compared to Tom Thumb. Our mission here is pretty clear. We want to dig into the sources and show you how the story you probably know, the brave, noble one, is actually a polished, maybe even sanitized version of a much older, morally gray medieval tale. We're peeling back the layers, basically, trying to find the original guy.
And that's really the core hook here, what we found in the source material. The hero of the original medieval texts, especially the Otogi-zōshi from the Muromachi period, he wasn't this loyal, brave little samurai, not at all. He was, frankly, a cynical, calculating, even cruel trickster.
A trickster, wow.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get into the really quite shocking scheme he used. He didn't earn the princess and his high status. He essentially stole them. This whole evolution of the character is just a fascinating look at how societies kind of rewrite their stories to match their values over time.
That shift really does say a lot. Okay, but let's start with the familiar version first. The modern hero, the one from, all the children's books from the 19th, 20th centuries, the noble quest version.
Right. So in this telling, it starts with a really devout elderly couple. They desperately want a child. They go to the famous Sumiyoshi Taisha shrine in Osaka, and they pray, just simply, please, please let us have a child, no matter how small.
And, their wish is granted. They get a son who is exactly 1 son tall. That's tiny, about 1.2 inches. So they name him Issun-boshi, one-inch boy.
And they raise him with love, right? Even though he's, different.
Exactly. He grows up smart and brave in this version. And when he decides, it's time to seek his fortune, he gets really ingenious about his size. Yes, the tools, they're so iconic. He takes everyday things and makes them work for him. Sets off for Kyoto in a rice bowl as his boat.
Mm-hmm. And uses a chopstick as an oar. His sword is just a sewing needle. It's all about resourcefulness. Ingenuity.
So he gets to Kyoto, the capital, and manages to become a retainer for a powerful lord. Mm-hmm. And he becomes a favorite, especially of the lord's daughter, the princess.
Right. And this leads to the climax everyone knows. They get ambushed by these fearsome oni, Japanese ogres or demons.
And little Issun-boshi, he doesn't back down, draws his needle sword.
One of the oni just laughs, thinks he's insignificant, and swallows him whole.
Big mistake.
Huge mistake. Inside the oni's stomach, Issun-boshi just goes wild with the needle, stabbing and poking until the demon is in agony. It coughs him up violently and runs away, dropping the legendary Uchida no Kazuchi, the Magic Mallet.
Okay, and this is where the modern moral hero really shines.
Yeah.
What he wishes for. The princess asks him, do you want gold? Rice? But he says no.
Exactly. He rejects all that. He says, I want neither money nor rice. All I want is to become full-sized, pure self-actualization.
He gets his wish, becomes this handsome, full-size samurai, marries the princess, happily ever after. It's a perfect lesson, right? Inner value over outer appearance.
It is. It's a great moral tale.
So, that's the hero we know. Now, let's talk about the trickster. We need to shift gears to the Otogi-zoshi version from the Muromachi period. And that era, we're talking, 14th to 16th centuries? A really chaotic time in Japan. Civil war, upheaval.
Absolutely crucial context. That cynicism and harshness, it's right there in the story from the beginning.
Yeah.
The old couple. They don't pray for a small child. When he's born so small, they're horrified.
Horrified?
Yeah, they see him as an aberration, maybe even a monster. So when he leaves home, it's not some noble quest they bless. It's more like him escaping their rejection.
Wow, okay. That's a completely different setup. And does that rejection fuel him somehow?
It seems to. It fuels this ruthless ambition. He gets to the capital, and he doesn't just look for honest work. He sets his sights high. He falls for the daughter of a very powerful chancellor.
But obviously, given his size and, zero status, he can't just court her.
Right. So he hatches a scheme, and this is where it gets really dark. Really manipulative.
Okay, what does he do?
It's pretty shocking. He sneaks into her room while she's sleeping, but he's not there to, leave a flower. He steals valuable rice grains, specifically from the family's Buddhist altar.
Wait, the Buddhist altar? Why that detail? What's the significance there?
Oh, it's huge. Stealing is bad enough, but from the sacred altar. In that period, that wasn't just theft. It implied, total spiritual corruption, a complete lack of character. It's sacrilege.
So he steals this sacred rice.
And places it on her sleeping mouth. Then he cries out, wakes the household, and accuses her of stealing his precious rice. He frames her.
He frames her for sacrifice. That's incredibly calculated.
It is.
He frames her for sacrifice. That's incredibly calculated.
It is. He essentially destroys her reputation instantly, makes her look morally bankrupt. And the chancellor, her father, is so disgraced and enraged he orders her to be killed.
He orders her killed based on this lie.
Yes. But then Issun-boshi steps in. The hero, he mediates, pleads for her life.
Ah, I see. So he creates the crisis, then solves it.
Exactly. He saves her life, sure. But the princess is now completely disgraced, ruined, and he basically forces her into his care. He didn't win her with bravery. He acquired her through blackmail and social destruction.
That's chillingly ambitious, almost sociopathic. Why risk her death? What does this kind of scheming tell us about, well, getting ahead in that Muromachi period?
It tells you success often came through disruption. This older version, it's a story where victory comes from, let's call it a wicked usage of wisdom, using cunning to completely subvert the social order. He uses his wits, not a sword, to steal a high-status wife.
And the Magic Mallet. Does he get that in this version too?
He does, yes. The story varies slightly. Sometimes it's an encounter on the journey. But when he gets the mallet, his priority is clear.
Not just getting taller.
Not primarily. He uses it mainly for wealth and power. Pure, unadulterated status climbing.
How high does he climb?
He uses the mallet to secure the court rank of Chunagon. That's incredibly high up, like a top advisor to the emperor, a senior minister.
Yeah.
From a rejected one-inch outcast to one of the most powerful men in the court.
Achieved through utter ruthlessness. It's almost unbelievable that this guy became the virtuous hero.
Right. The transformation is stark.
But this story, it's not just floating in the abstract, is it? Our sources show it's actually tied to real places in Japan. It's like a map.
It absolutely is, geographically anchored.
So it starts in Osaka, the Sumiyoshi Taisha shrine, where the couple prayed. That's a real ancient place.
Very real, very important shrine. And his journey to Kyoto. Tradition says it started on the waterways of Osaka. Specifically, local historians often point to the Dotonbori Canal.
Dotonbori, with all the giant crabs and neon signs today. That Dotonbori.
The very same. Now it's this, chaotic hub of nightlife and food. But his grand adventure is said to have launched from there.
That's quite a contrast.
And there's even proof it's remembered locally. Tucked away in your Dotonbori, there's a tiny shrine called Issun-boshi Daimyojin. It commemorates him, shows how deep this story runs in the local culture.
So the setting itself connects the myth to the real world, including the chaos of that Muromachi period we mentioned. You mentioned the term gekokujō.
Yes, gekokujō. It translates roughly as the low overthrowing the high. It perfectly describes the Muromachi era. Old hierarchies were crumbling. It was a time when someone from a low rank, a clever retainer, a minor warlord, could actually seize power from their superiors, often violently, sometimes through cunning.
Okay, so the original Issun-boshi, the trickster, he's basically the embodiment of gekokujō.
He's the perfect allegory for it. He starts as literally the lowest of the low, rejected, physically tiny. And he doesn't rise through loyalty or service. He rises by destroying the moral authority of the established power, the chancellor's house. He creates chaos and then steps into the void he made. The original story, you could argue, almost validates this idea that in a rigid system, maybe ruthless ambition is the only way up.
Looking closer at the story elements, too, like the tools. The needle sword, the bowl boat. They're not just clever. Maybe they symbolize finding power in the ordinary, the overlooked.
That's a great way to put it. Finding strength in the mundane, the discarded. And the magic mallet, the Uchid no Kazuchi, it's more than just a plot device. It's a major artifact from mythology. It's the treasure of Daikokuten, who is one of the 7 lucky gods, specifically the god of wealth and prosperity.
So when Issun-boshi gets the mallet, he's not just getting magic wishes.
He's seizing divine fortune. It elevates the whole climax. He's tapping into godly power.
There's just so many layers here.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And perhaps the deepest interpretation comes from Kunio Yanagita. He's basically the father of Japanese folklore studies. He talked about the Chisago archetype.
Chisaga. The small child. How is that different from how, say, we in the West might think of Tom Thumb, like overcoming a disability?
It's fundamentally different. Yanagita argued that in stories like Issun-bōshi's, the smallness isn't a defect to be fixed or overcome. It's the opposite. It's the very sign of his sacred nature, his divinity.
So his tiny size means he's special, connected to the gods.
Exactly. He's a divine child, like Momotaro, the Peach Boy, another major figure.
Yeah.
His smallness marks him as someone extraordinary, someone from or connected to the other world.
Okay, so then the transformation at the end, getting tall,
Yeah.
It's not a cure.
According to Yanagita, no. It's the revelation of his true inherent power and destiny. He's not becoming normal. He's finally manifesting his latent divine potential in the human world. It totally reframes the story.
Wow. Okay, so whether he's seen as divine or as this calculating trickster, the story clearly has incredible staying power. He's still everywhere in kids' books, teaching virtue. And the core idea, the small, underestimated hero, it definitely lives on.
You see echoes of it.
Yeah, like in that recent anime, Ranking of Kings. You have Prince Buji, he's tiny, he's deaf, everyone writes him off. But he's brave, uses a needle-like sword. It feels very connected. That archetype is still really potent.
It is, and yet the contrast between the original trickster and the modern hero is just... It's massive. The modern story had to erase the cynical manipulator, the guy who used sacrilege and blackmail, to create the inspirational figure they needed for teaching kids.
So thinking about that older version, the trickster in his historical context, what's the final thought for us, for you listening? What does it really tell us?
Well, it forces you to ask, right? In a really rigid society like medieval Japan, where moving up was almost impossible if you were born low, was that kind of amoral cunning maybe the only way to actually achieve greatness? Issun-bōshi's transformation into a powerful Chunagon wasn't just about magic. It started with a ruthless act that completely disrupted the existing order.
So the question is, what's the real price of ambition when the system itself seems stacked against you?
Exactly. What does that original trickster tell us about the lengths people will go to, the rules they'll break to carve out a place for themselves? Something for you to think about.